So this is our lecture number 1.4. All other lectures which have been delivered, they have also been uploaded in the YouTube, and I have shared the link of the channel. I would not be sharing the link of the videos. So it is expected that if you subscribe, in that particular case, you would be able to get whenever I upload a video. The advantage is that you are doing me a favor by doing subscription. I do not have to send emails saying a video has been uploaded. So if all 17 of you subscribe to that channel and press that icon, whenever I upload any video after the class, you would be informed, or if I upload any supplementary video, then also it would be very clear to you. So as I was saying, so this is our lecture number 1.4. Now let us see what we have done in 1.3. In 1.3, we have mainly talked about classification of grinding processes, and in that these are the things that we have covered. We have covered part of surface grinding. Which part of surface grinding that we have covered? We have covered part of surface grinding. We have covered horizontal spindling surface grinding employing reciprocating table, and in that we have shown you three different variation. One is traverse grinding, one is plunge and groove grinding. In case of traverse grinding, BA should be less than BW, so the tool, that is the grinding wheel, has to be traversed in the cross direction to grind the entire surface. As far as plunge grinding and groove grinding is concerned, in case of plunge grinding, BS is larger than BW, and in case of groove grinding, it is equal to BW. We have also talked about cylindrical grinding. Out of cylindrical grinding, we could cover only external cylindrical grinding, and there also we have the concept of plunge grinding and traverse grinding. Whatever is listed here today, listed here in the different color, that we could not cover in the last class. So let us hope we would be able to cover that today as much as possible. I will not hurry it up. So one thing that I did not show you in the last class was the video of plunge surface grinding. So video of plunge surface grinding I'll try to show you today. So this is the video of the plunge surface grinding, and what we have done is that we have done traverse cylindrical grinding. This is the plunge cylindrical grinding, I am sorry. And here, as you can see, the workpiece is mounted on a chuck and it is not supported by a tailstock. This is one example. So here the workpiece was mounted on a chuck. This is an industrial situation, so they do mount it, and there is no tailstock support. So it is unsupported. The workpiece is a short workpiece, and this is plunge cylindrical grinding. This we have discussed kinematics and everything in the last class, but we did not show you the video. So let us see another one, another variation or variant of the same, which is plunge cylindrical grinding. Here, as you can see, here you have a tailstock. This is a rather longish, it's a long shaft. Already these surfaces have been ground As you can see, they have already been ground. Possibly they have been ground by transverse cylindrical grinding. Now this particular surface is being ground, where this is the BW, and if you look at BS, BS is definitely longer. So let us have a look at the video, and this is definitely not supported on the other side by a chuck. I do not have that particular view. It is mounted between centers. So this is the video of the surface grinding, sorry, plant cylindrical grinding, and as you can see at the end of the video, the grinding wheel will retract. So what are the motions? Once again, what are the motions here? The motions are, the shaft was rotating in this direction, giving rise to work speed. The grinding wheel was rotating in this direction, giving rise to Vs, and perpendicular to the screen was the infeed direction. And as because this is flange grinding, there was no transverse motion. There was no transverse motion. Transverse motion was not there. So earlier whatever we have given as feed, SL, that was absent. So all these symbols we have explained in the previous class. So you can, if required, you can revisit that particular video at your, whenever you require them, and carry on clarifying your doubts. Now let us come to cylindrical grinding, but this is a different cup of tea. This is internal grinding. Internal grinding is very interesting. I will come to the interesting part later on. So this is your workhead, which imparts motion to the workpiece, NW, which leads to VW. So this is the work speed. It rotates the spindle. On the spindle, the workpiece, this is the workpiece which is mounted. And second thing is that this is your grinding head. The equivalent to cutting head in a drilling machine or a milling machine. This is the grinding head, and this is imparting NS motion leading to VS. What else do you have? You have this particular motion. This is the traversing motion. So this is traversing motion, which is leading to longitudinal feed. So that is leading to SL that we have mentioned in the last class. There is one more thing, the length or width of the feature, not exactly the job, feature, that we will however use the same BW. It is much larger than BS, so you require this traversing motion. There is one more motion that I have not mentioned, which is this one. This motion is required for giving infeed. Infeed is given as a micron per revolution of the job or workpiece. This micron per revolution, this particular story comes only when it is traverse. It is looks like F, so let me correct that. So when it is transverse grinding. So this is the thing of internal grinding. Now here there is another interesting story of internal grinding. So what I will do is that I will get rid of this part, whatever I have commented, and here you might be thinking that we have not taken a note. So what you can do is that you can always come back to this video, pause it from YouTube and take note. For the time being, I cannot give you so much of time. Whatever note you have taken, keep it like that, and later on from the YouTube you can revisit this particular video and do it. Now internal grinding, let us look at the workpiece. Yesterday I have given you two examples, IC engine cylinders, and one other one is collet. I have no bias towards Maruti, but I do drive a car which is WagonR. Its engine size is 1066 cc and that has 4 cylinders. So roughly each cylinder is 250 cc. So from that you can understand what would be the internal diameter. I do not exactly know how much is the stroke length of a Maruti engine, but typically I guess the internal diameter would be 40 millimeter to 60 millimeter. This is my guess. I do not have done any background research, so I might be wrong, but they are the numbers. So 40 to 60 millimeter for an IC engine cylinder. If you go for a truck engine, it would be larger. Now let us come to collet. For collet, what are collets? Collets are work holding device in semi-automatic lathe. It is also cutting tool holding device. What kind of cutting tool does it accommodate? It accommodates rotating cutting tools like drills, like end mill. And let us assume that you have an end mill which is rather large, 20 millimeter. Another friend of yours is having another one which is 10 millimeter. So try to understand, this is the diameter of the job, which is 10 to 50 millimeter, or it can be even less than that, and that has to be internally ground. So the diameter of the cutting tool, that is the grinding tool, which is shown here, which is shown here, DS, would have to be much less than DW. Say DS is 7 millimeter, and with that DS you have to achieve a VS of 50 meter per second, and VS is nothing but pi into DS into NS by 60, where this is in meter. So if you calculate, you will find out that NS requirement is very, very high. How high is NS? NS would be possibly tens of thousands RPM, or even 1 to 1.5 lakh RPM if your diameter of the spindle is small. So this is a peculiarity of internal grinding. So the spindle, this is the spindle or the grinding head. These spindles are not normal spindle. Most of the time these are high speed spindle. See, if you look at the kinematic requirement of an internal grinding machine and an external cylindrical grinding machine, there is not much difference. But because of the high speed spindle requirement, and which has to accommodate smaller diameter cutting grinding wheels, most of the time these two machines are different, internal cylindrical grinding and external cylindrical grinding. However, there are machines which are called universal cylindrical grinding machines, where both the spindles exist, one for external cylindrical grinding, another one for internal cylindrical grinding. Typically internal cylindrical grindings are very costly. In IIT Kharagpur we do not have internal cylindrical grinder. We have surface grinder, we have external cylindrical grinder, but internal cylindrical grinder we do not have. They are rather costly. Now this is an example of internal grinding. More precisely, this is an example of internal cylindrical grinding which is traverse type. So as you can see, Let us stop the video here. Yes, this is a nice place to stop it. Get my pen. So this is your hollow workpiece. So this is your workpiece, which is rotating in this direction by NW, giving to VW. VW, if you remember, is less 2 to 10 meter per minute, in that range. In case of cylindrical grinding, it could be even 3 meter per minute. Other than that, this was rotating in this direction, NS. So this is giving rise to VS. VS could be very well 50 meter per second. Further, this, as you can see, was reciprocating in this direction. So this is the transverse motion giving rise to the longitudinal feed SL. And you must have seen that sparks were coming out. So sparks were coming out. So there must have been an engagement between the workpiece. So here at this particular surface, there must have been an engagement. So the infeed was there. And this infeed is around 2 to 10 micron per revolution of the job. In this particular case, it could be revolution of the job, or it could be revolution or per stroke. I think I have made a mistake in the previous slide, so previous place. So please rectify that. I cannot rectify it. So here, this is wrong. This is not revolution per job, but for per stroke. Revolution per job, this was wrongly stated. If the unit is micron per revolution of job, in that particular case, it has to be plunge grinding. This was stated wrongly, please correct it. So in case of transverse grinding, it is revolution per stroke. In each stroke, how much revolution is given. The next one is, let me play the video till the end. So transverse grinding, transverse internal grinding is going on. And here the bore which is being ground is much more larger, and here also transverse grinding is going on. As you can see, the grinding wheel is gradually going inside the job, and it is also coming out. Now you can see it has come out, it has gone inside substantially. So these are the two examples of cylindrical internal grinding. Now let us go to the schematic so that we can see, we can once again indicate everything clearly. So now what we are taking up is internal cylindrical grinding, transverse. Just now you have seen the video, but at the schematic level, let us do this. This is mounted on a chuck. This has to be mounted on a chuck. It cannot be mounted between centers because this hole has to be worked on. This job is rotating in this direction with NW, giving rise to VW. This is the grinding head. This is the spindle. This is your grinding wheel. This spindle is rotating in this direction with NS, giving rise to the grinding speed Vs. This is gradually moving in this direction. So this is the cutting front. This is moving with a longitudinal feed of SL, which would be millimeter per revolution of the job. This SL into NW would give you SM, that is longitudinal feed rate, that would be in millimeter per minute. So this is the feed rate and this is feet per revolution of the job. There is an engagement between the job and the grinding wheel. This is A. So A is infeed. This is micron per traversing stroke. So this I mentioned wrongly in some slide that I have corrected. Where is the unmachined surface? This is the unmachined surface, and this is the ground surface where you would expect better tolerance and finish. So cutting front, where is my cutting front? Cutting front is both at this particular surface as well as this surface. So there the cutting is going on. In the next class, what we will do is that for all the grinding classification that we are talking today and in the last class, we will try to derive material removal rate for them.
Sir,
Yes. Please, whenever you are asking question, please introduce, that is, you tell your name and then ask question. Though yes, go ahead. And please put
Okay,
your
sir.
please put your mouth away from your mic at least 6 inches. Yes.
okay, sir. Sir, I'm Jadhav Girish. Sir, here this grinding wheel is traversing, no?
Grinding wheel is traversing. If we go back, just a minute. As you can see, the cutting head is traversing here also. Okay. So is that doubt clear? Fine.
Yes, sir. Then this HL will be HL should depend on NS, no?
No, it would not depend on NS. It would depend on revolution of the job.
Sir, but both job and grinding wheel are driving with different motors, no? Then how it is related?
Sorry?
This grinding wheel and this job both will be driving with different motors, no?
No. See, this is being driven by a motor. This is being driven by a motor 1. This spindle or the chuck is driven by a motor 2. Okay. But motor 1 is only giving rotation to the spindle. Motor 2 is giving rotation to the chuck. This feed is not coming from this motor. This feed is coming from M2, just like in a lathe. In a lathe, what happens? You have rotation of the main spindle on which the chuck is mounted. Okay. So there you have a rotation, and the same motor provides power for longitudinal feed and transverse feed. A similar kinematic diagram is given here. A similar kinematic arrangement is used here. I am not going into the machine tool part of it. Bare minimum things I am identifying, but your concern is not correct, but it is a valid concern. Here M1 is used only to give rotation to the grinding spindle or grinding wheel. This motion is not used for anything. This motor 2, which is not this motor 2 is somewhere else, rotates the workpiece and it also gives speed to the motor. There is a kinematic arrangement because this motor is mounted somewhere. This motor is mounted somewhere, so there has to be a screw which is driving this motor in this direction. Okay, the whole setup, cutting head, is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So now we are coming to internal cylindrical grinding, groove grinding. So it is very much equivalent to plunge grinding. But typically we do not have plunge grinding in internal features. So what is happening here? This is, let me take the other color. This color is not coming very nicely. So here, this is once again the chuck. This is mounted on this is not the chuck. This is the jaw of the chuck. This is representing the chuck. This is NW. This is giving rise to VW. This is your motor 1 in the previous one. So this is your cutting head. This is the grinding spindle. This is the grinding wheel. The spindle is rotating with NS, which is giving rise to VS. This motion is not present. SL or SM is not present. Why they are not? Why is it not present? Because this is a plunge or a groove grinding. To be more precise, this is a groove grinding. So for that reason, I do not require any motion. However, a motion is required in this direction. A motion is required in this direction, which is in feed, which is A, and in this particular case, it is micron per revolution of the job. If I go back, here it was millimeter per revolution of the job, and this was millimeter per traversing stroke, micron per traversing stroke. Here there is no traversing stroke, it is micron per revolution of the job. Say for example, if A is 2 micron and total material to be removed is 50 micron, then 25 revolution of the job would be required. After that and before that, something else will happen, that we will explain later on. But if someone doesn't understand that, he will say it would require 25 revolution of the job, and if he knows NW, he would be able to estimate the time as well. So that estimation is pure class 10 level mathematics. I am not going to cover these things, but one can understand. But before 25 my revolution of the job sets in, something else happen. Once grinding is done, something else happen. We will discuss that later on, not today. So this is the kinematic requirements in an internal cylindrical grinding engaged in groove grinding. Now let us come to something which is once again a cylindrical grinding operation, but this is called centerless grinding. This is called centerless grinding. We are showing you external grinding. There are 3 variants of it. Only one variant is being shown here. This is in-feed. First of all, what is centerless grinding? If you are grinding a shaft, I hope you can see me. If you are grinding a shaft, it is mounted, external surface of the shaft, it is mounted between centers. But here, the workpiece need not be mounted between center. This is the workpiece. So, it is called a centerless grinding. Most of the time, workpieces are short and they are small in diameter. So, typical L by D ratio is 1 to 10, not more than that, and diameter is typically 2 millimeter to what I have seen in the industry is 40 millimeter, not more than that. But today I am going to show you a video where diameter would be large, even length would be large. So that kind of machines have also come, and that I will show. But typically, if someone says centerless grinding, it is a short, small workpiece with this kind of L by D ratio and diameter. So this kind of workpieces are primarily called a pin or a spindle. They are not called a shaft. So these kind of workpieces are processed in centerless grinding. So what happens? This is your workpiece. This is your grinding wheel. So at the periphery of the grinding wheel, you have grits. These grits, as we have discussed, can be alumina, it can be silicon carbide, it can be CBN, it can be diamond, all those things. And this is the grinding wheel. This is the workpiece. This workpiece has to somehow rotate and give a peripheral speed of NW. That is given by this regulating wheel. This is your regulating wheel. It is written here itself. This regulating wheel is rotating with a speed of NR. So it is having a peripheral speed of VR. Now, as because VR is driving the workpiece by friction drive, one can assume VR equal to VW. But NW would be different. It would not be equal to NR because dW is not equal to dr. Okay, so these things are there. So what we are doing earlier, the workpiece was being driven by a motor. Now it is not being driven by a motor. It is driven by a regulating wheel. Most of the time, this is a rubber bonded wheel. There are different kinds of bonding materials in a grinding wheel. We have not discussed that. But for the time being, you note it down that this is a rubber bonded regulating wheel and this is a grinding wheel which have grits, and these grids will remove the material by micro cutting action as we have discussed earlier. So what happens? This will rotate at NS, this will rotate at NW, so this will rotate at NR, this will rotate at NW, and the grinding action will take place here. One interesting thing is that you can understand, though we have not discussed earlier, because of grinding, there would be a force, grinding force imparted in this direction, another force would be imparted in this direction. These forces are imparted in such a manner that there is no tendency for the workpiece to fly off, and this is the work rest on which the workpiece would be supporting. Once grinding has been done, the work rest will fall off and the workpiece will work rest will automatically be removed and the workpiece will drop in a particular bucket. As simple as that. Regulating wheel would also move in this direction, so to impart infeed, and infeed in this particular case is micron per revolution of the job. It is micron per revolution of the job. So though in the machine it would be set in something else, but I will not go into that details. It would be set in a different manner. I will not go into that detail. For calculation purpose, it is micron per revolution of the job. Now this is equivalent to plunge grinding, because the entire length of the job, if this is the pin, the entire length of the pin would be ground in a singles. There would not be any traversing motion. There would not be any motion in this direction of the workpiece. So only the regulating wheel, which is here, this is your regulating wheel that is rotating in this direction, that will advance and grinding will take place at this particular surface. So this is centerless external infeed grinding. The next one that we are going to go is not called traverse external centerless grinding, but if someone wants to say that I want to use uniform terminology, then it would be called a traverse external centerless grinding. Historically, it has been given a different name. We will also call it by that name only, which is through feed external grinding. But you will understand the kinematics of this grinding process is such, if someone is a Puritan and he would like to call it traverse external centerless grinding, I would not be able to say you are wrong. But we do not use this terminology, we use through feed grinding. So what is it? This is once again your workpiece. This is your grinding wheel. I'll change the color. So this is your grinding wheel and this is your regulating wheel. In the earlier one, the axis of the grinding wheel, workpiece and regulating wheel, they were all parallel, but here it is not parallel. This regulating wheel is slightly inclined. When I say slightly inclined, how much? 1 to 5 degree. Most of the books will report around 2 degree, but in industry it can be less or it can be bit high. What are the motions shown? A is NS motion driven by a motor. B is NW motion not driven by a motor. This is NR motion driven by a motor. NW, where from it is coming? It is coming because of friction. There is one more motion which is not shown in this figure. I will show it separately. Now this is the inclined, this is your regulating wheel. This is your grinding wheel. This is your inclination angle. And this is your workpiece. So workpiece, as you can see, the diameter is less and the L by D ratio, the way I have told, is of that zone. Somehow, as because the feature length of the workpiece is much longer than the width of the grinding wheel, there has to be a motion of the workpiece in this direction. So where from we are going to get that motion? Now drawing this is going to be tricky, so please give me some time. So this is my regulating wheel, which is rotating in this direction with NW. So if I draw its peripheral velocity at the center, at this particular position, the peripheral velocity would be in this direction. This is your VR. It would have two components. One is VW, another one is SM. What is SM? SM is the longitudinal feed of the job into NW. Longitudinal feed of the job into NW. So this SM is nothing but this arrow which has been shown here. So automatically the job would be getting a longitudinal feed. In the previous slide, I wrote somewhere VW is almost equal to VR. It is almost, this is almost equal to, because in practice VW would be VR cos alpha. Your alpha is around 2 degrees, so they are almost equal, and SM would be VR into sin alpha. So what are the motions? One motion is NS, another motion is NR. NS is giving rise to VS, the grinding speed. NR is giving rise to VR. This VR vector has two components. One is VW, another one is, oh God, SM. So this VM is giving rise to rotation of the motion, rotation of the workpiece, and SM is giving rise to longitudinal feed. And in this way, a short workpiece which is not very having large diameter, but its length is larger than the width of the job, width of the grinding wheel, BW is more than BS. It can be ground nicely using a centerless grinding. So it is having a traverse motion. There is a infeed. Infeed is provided by this one. Infeed is provided by this one. So in a single stroke it is ground. The entire stock is ground. If required, multiple passes are given, but typically the grinding allowance is low, so that the entire grinding allowance can be covered in a single pass. So this infeed is given from the rotating wheel. So what I was saying is that it is having traverse motion, it is having BW, and BW is more than BS. So thus, if someone calls it traverse external centerless grinding, I would not be able to dispute that from logic point of view. However, we will call it true feed grinding because that is the terminology which is used by the community. So now let us look at a video. And after looking at the video, I am going to ask you, what process is it? So if I can annotate, this is your regulating wheel. This is your grinding wheel, which is rotating in this direction, giving rise to Vs. This is giving rise to VR, and this is your work rest. Instead of a chiseled shape work rest, they are using a roller. This is the specification of the machine. It can handle 5 millimeter to 150 millimeter. To be very honest, I have never seen a centerless grinding machine handling a 150 millimeter job. Maximum I have seen is 40 to 50 millimeter. They are handling possibly a 40 to 50 millimeter job, but it is not a solid job. It is a hollow pipe, the external surface they are machining. So let us have a look. Before looking at, let us remove this and let us start the video. What is happening? Achha, video is starting. You can see the regulating wheel rotating. Grinding wheel rotation cannot be seen so easily, but it is also rotating. Here, as you can see, if you, achha, this is the workpiece. As you can see, the diameter would be, the guy can hold it in his hand very nicely. So diameter would not be more than 40 to 50 millimeter, and it is a pipe. So the diameter of the weight of the job would not be very large, and he is simply placing it over there, and gradually the surface is being ground. Infeed is being controlled from this one. This is giving the rotation motion to the regulating wheel. We cannot see the motor for this one. Infeed has been set using a lever. There was a lever that there it has been set. So this is the video. So at this moment, what I will do is that I will come out of this and ask you people a question. What was the video about? What grinding process was it? Anyone? This is not, you are not going to get a credit, but please do participate in the class. That is, otherwise it becomes very boring. I am really not enjoying it. I cannot see anyone. So please participate. What kind of process was it? Only one answer, and need not have to explain. Somebody else will explain. So who is this guy? Gajanan. Gajanan, can you tell me?
Yes, sir. It is centerless grinding.
It is centerless grinding. What kind of centerless grinding? Till now, I have shown external centerless grinding. Internal centerless grinding, I haven't shown. Is it external cylindrical centerless grinding?
Yes, sir. It is external
Cylindrical grinding.
Cylindrical
Very good.
grinding.
Ashok More, are you there? Ashok? Yes. So it is an external cylindrical grinding. Is it in-feed grinding or is it through-feed grinding? Is there a transverse motion or longitudinal feed?
Sir, it is traverse motion.
It is transverse motion. So what is it called? Is it called in-feed grinding or through-feed grinding? It is called, okay, somebody else, maybe Ashok More is confused. Anybody else? Shantanu? Shantanu, are you there?
It is through feed grinding.
It is through feed grinding. So if there is a Puritan amongst us who would say all standardized terminology is to be used, he can also say this is transverse external centerless grinding. We would not use this term, but for similarity, for normalization, standardization, one can use this term as well. In your question paper, this term would not be used. The term which would be used would be through feed grinding. Now let us go back. Thank you for your participation. Let us go back. I would request those who have unmuted, please mute them once again. Harsh is having a question. Yes, go ahead, Harsh. Where are you?
Sir, can you please explain once again in-feed and through-feed grinding?
Okay, I'll explain once again in in-feed and through-feed grinding. I'll do that. Fine. So please mute yourself. Let me go back to the presentation. where to explain. Let me get rid of this. Oh, I cannot get rid of this. So this is in-feed grinding. There is no SM or no SL, there is no longitudinal feed. If longitudinal feed has to occur, this workpiece either has to move towards you or move away from you. This motion is absent. Okay, only its diameter is being reduced. It is being reduced by infeed given to the regulating wheel. It is the infeed which is given to the regulating wheel. There is no motion required. Why there is no motion required? Because this is the length of the job. Regulating wheel would have much larger diameter, but I am drawing it in this manner. So this is NR and this is your grinding wheel. This would also have larger diameter. So this is BS. So BS is more than BW. So the entire surface can be ground without any longitudinal motion. So this is in-feed grinding. Now what is through feed grinding? Where is that? In through feed grinding, the job length is much larger. As you can see, the job length is much larger. Typically, L is used for designating L, but I want to use B for once again standardization. So this is the job length. So this is the width of the job or length of the job, whereas this is the width of the grinding wheel. So somehow this job has to be fed in this direction with SM, that is millimeter per minute, or someone can say this is feed rate, this is feed SL, millimeter per revolution of the job. So how do I do that? So this is your regulating wheel. This was earlier imparting only VW. Now it is not only imparting VW, it has to impart SM as well. So if this is your job, if this is your job, this has to give you VW and it has to be fed in this direction SM. For that reason, VR, my drawing is poor, I can't help it. Please excuse me. Okay, this is really horrible. Let me redraw it. So VR has to be in this direction so that it has two components, VW and SM. So, and this is through feed grinding. A guy can also call it as traverse centerless external grinding, something like this, whatever name you can use. However, we will simply call it through feed centerless grinding. Harsh, is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
the video was for through feed, right?
Can you be a bit more loud? I cannot hear you.
In video, it was through feed because the object was moving from.
Very good. This video is for through feed because the object was moving longitudinally. That's great. So thanks a lot once again for interacting. So let me go back where we were. Okay, I will just cover 2 more slides. There are few more slides that we will not cover. This is called, I will not cover them, only 2 more slides I will cover. This is called end-feed external centerless grinding. This is typically done for short tapered workpieces, regulating wheel as well as grinding wheel. Both of them, they are to be tapered so that the job geometry is created. This is NS, this is your grinding wheel, this is your regulating wheel. Both of them, as you can see, is tapered. This is the workpiece. So this is your NR. So NR leads to VR. VR is nothing but VW, because there is no SM here. There is no SM, absolutely. It is not there. So that is the case, and it is fed in this direction. So there is a separate mechanized feeding mechanism or manual. This could as well be manual feeding mechanism till the proper grinding is done, and there is a infeed in this direction. A small infeed is given so that the entire surface is ground. So this is a specialized grinding operation for short tapered workpieces. This is called end-feed grinding. These are all technology part of it. Building on this technology, we will go towards the analysis. That is, we will first learn how to calculate material removal rate, but definitely not today. One more slide I will cover. This is centerless internal grinding. This is internal. Till now we were talking about external grinding, and this is basically traverse internal centerless grinding. For traverse, what are the motions required? You require a NW, you require a NS, you require a infeed, and you require SM. In case of traverse external centerless grinding, this was obtained from NR, and regulating wheel was inclined. Here it is not. In this place it is not inclined. Earlier it was inclined. So this is your regulating wheel. These are supporting wheels. They are simply supporting the weight of the workpiece. This is your workpiece. This is the internal surface which is being ground. This is your spindle. So this arrow is NS. This is NW. This is NR. These supporting wheels accordingly will run. This is a driven wheel. This is a driven wheel. This is the grinding wheel. They are not driven. They are simply supporting wheel. This is not driven by a motor. This is frictionally driven by the regulating wheel. And here you have a SM motion or traverse motion. So this can be called traverse internal centerless grinding. There is a thought, why don't we call the earlier one as traverse external centerless grinding? There is no separate drive for traversing mechanism in case of through feed grinding. In through feed grinding, longitudinal feed motion is obtained by inclining the regulating wheel. So today we will stop here. We have covered a lot. In the next class, the other grinding things that we have not covered, we will cover them, and we will start deriving the material removal rate thing. So that would be Saturday, and hopefully Saturday we will also try to solve some problem. Once that is done, our significant part of 0th module and first module would be over, and ideally we should have a quiz. But quizzes are to be conducted in Microsoft Teams. So that I will do only after 15th of September when the registration closes. Before 15th of September, I will not have any quizzes. So assignments and quizzes will start appearing in your feed from 15th of September onwards. And gradually from Google Meet, we will change over to Microsoft Teams. For that, I request support from younger faculty members. They are rather busy. They have ensured, they have confirmed that they will support me. But let us wait for some time. Let your registration period be over. Then we will migrate to Microsoft Team. Now let me take the attendance. So for taking the attendance, what has to be done? Achha, this is fine. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So first guy is Shiva Shankar.
Yes, sir.
Wait. I have to change position of my keyboard and this digital thing. Wait. Have no. Shiv Shankar P. Achha, present.
Yes, sir.
Kailash.
Yes, sir.
Harsh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Harsh, you are very less energetic. Have breakfast. Siddhant Gautam. Acha. Jatin Kumar. Arpit. Arpit was, what is happening with him? Acha. Shantanu.
Yes, sir. Present.
More. Ashok More.
Yes, sir.
Ankit. Anurag.
Present, sir.
Acha. Anup Kumar Singh.
Yes, sir.
Where are you? Acha, Anup Kumar Singh. Muralidhar. Ritesh. Hello. Ritesh. Acha, Rohit Punia is Ritesh. Acha. Rohit, please get yourself a proper Gmail ID. I do not know why is it so difficult. Girish.
Present, sir.
Gajanan.
Present, sir.
Durganand. Durganand.
Present, sir.
Rohitas.
Present, sir.
Rohitas.
Yes, sir.
So who was this Ritesh? If Rohitas is Rohit Punia, then who was this Ritesh? Ritesh, are you still present? I do not understand this. Achha, then Sarji.
Present, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So once again we will meet on Saturday. I'll send the Google Meet on Friday, and I'll share this particular video by tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank